was going to challenge, not really challenge, but generally be disruptive, and he decided to just go all out and sit in front of everybody and complain that the results were not authentic. But one should expect that normally in any election. The contentions, don't forget, one of the biggest democracies in the world, the United States, in the last election, actually led to quite a big protest in which the legislative center of the United States, that is the Congress, was invaded by a rowdy crowd who are challenging the authenticity of the election. So I don't think Nigeria is so much. We should be better, really. But you may say if something like that is happening, even in the United States, um, we will be lucky not to have challenges with elections. Uh, there were even there were accusations of rigging, there were accusations of votes manipulation and all that. Not that I'm justifying why it should happen here, but in a context, there are always contentions. That's why they call it a contest. So we will be bringing you some results have been officialized, if I may say. We have the results from Ondo State, for example, that has been uh, uh, over and done with. And the numbers here says that the number of registered voters there were 1.9, one registered voter 1.9 million. Credited voters were 571 people were accredited to vote, which shows just a little over uh, less than 50% of the voters were accredited to vote, and the total number of valid votes was 551,000, which is much less than the accredited voters. That still has to be accounted for somehow. Why will people be accredited to vote and then they will not vote? Okay, that is a question that we have to keep asking. But for after elections, and the registered rejected votes were about 19,000, and total votes cast was 570,000. And the details of the results are that the three major parties were following. APC won 369,000, PDP won 115,000, and Labour Party won 47,000. So we have quite a discrepancy between the front runner and the next party. And this appears to be a trend. Yes, I'm sure you've been seeing a lot of the results coming out from other channels. I must emphasize that regardless of what you have seen, no matter how reliable you think the channel from which you have seen this is, you cannot take these results as gospel truth until the final process has been completed, which basically endorses these results and tallies the numbers from all states. That will give you the total for each candidate, or rather each party. Don't forget, our concentration has always been on the candidates representing each party. But officially, the vote is supposed to be cast for the party and not the person. Of course, there is hardly any difference sometimes, because it is the popularity of the individual, the popularity of the candidate, that actually sometimes pushes the party to either victory or loss. So, but officially, the whole idea is to vote for a party. The votes from Oshun are also in, and let me give you that quick tally of what we have from Osun State before we go to Kwara State. The total valid votes in Osun State is 733,000, and the rejected vote is 23,000, and the total vote cast is 756,744. And the three big parties there, which is the PDP, APC, and Labour Party. APC has 343,945. PDP has, let's see there, PRP, PDP. PDP has 354,000. Okay. Yes, I read that right, 354, and Labour Party has 23,000. That is from Osun State. Now, let's go to Kwara State, which has registered voters of 1.6 million, thereabout, and accredited voters were 497,000 voters, of which APC has 263,000, PDP, Labour Party has 31,000, and PDP has 136. As you can see, the margin between each parties are quite large. Of course, in Kwara State, you have some cancelled votes, which was due to overvoting in some wards. Now, another thing that we've seen is, I believe INEC has come out to say they will not be declaring any elections as inconclusive. I don't know what that terminology means. Inconclusive in this terminology may actually refer to the fact that you will hold the elections that are like these polling units where there are overvotings, which doesn't really affect the total number. I really don't know. We need clarification on that, if it is true that the INEC will not declare any election as inconclusive anymore. So it's either you win or you lose. But that seems to me a very, very contentious position to take. People must satisfy the requirements of their rights to vote. And if for any reason they cannot vote, provision should be made for them to vote at a later time. I'm sure that is the correct position as far as the law may be concerned. So these are some of the results we have had so far. We will bring you highlights of what transpired within the very short period that the first session of the coalition took place. The results are still trickling in from other states, and we will bring you updates as the day proceeds. But I can assure you it's not going to be a short process, because the process itself has been bedeviled by delays up until now. It was supposed to start at 12 p.m. yesterday, 12 noon yesterday. It did not start. It was postponed to 6 p.m. And at 6 p.m., the chairman came back again and said it has been postponed to 11 a.m. today. And thankfully, they did not postpone this time around. But the amount of results we were expecting may not be the what we have received so far, just about 3 states. But you may want to ask, why are the state results trickling in? What were the problems? The chairman addressed some of this, admitted that they did have problems in some areas, which will now be addressed. But the contentious point that some agents were making is that the uploaded results from the polling units, which was supposed to be the core functionality that BVAS is supposed to provide in this election, must be displayed alongside the final results that INEC will be validating at the National Collation Center. Now, I can understand where discrepancies can arise. In the process, the results that were uploaded from the polling booths may not necessarily tally with the final results if you have to take into account rejected votes and and uh, uh, contested votes or contested ballots, not votes. So the INEC chairman flatly refused to address that particular issue, which of course um, Senator Dino Melaye took serious objections to a point where he took himself off his seat and stood in front of the hall and was shouting at the top of his voice to get himself heard. He is not the only one who maintained that position, but he was the lead person who actually introduced the whole idea of display of uploaded votes alongside announced votes. And some other party agents supported him also in this demand. We don't know how this will be resolved. I am sure there will be some kind of resolution before this kind of contention gathers momentum. Then INEC's refusal may actually be construed completely differently by different people as constituting an attempt to compromise the election. It may very well be that INEC did not plan to do this at this event, but that data will always be available later. I don't foresee any problem with that. I also do not think that INEC should bend to every request by party agents. That if such request has not been resolved prior to the commencement of the collation process, it is very, very important. If this matter is coming up now, which means is either the people bringing it up didn't think of it before this time, or they did not bother to raise it with INEC before this process began. And if they have done that, I suppose former Senator Dino Melaye, being the kind of person that we know him to be, would have raised alarm long before now if they have indeed discussed this matter with INEC before this process began. But he did not do that. He did not aver that he had had that kind of discussion with them. So he's raising it now, which seems to me that it's some kind of ambush is going on. But if INEC has not decided on his own to display this information, I don't think they can be forced to do so now, even if you have to raise issues about transparency, which this demand could have resolved completely. But you see, I believe also that sometimes, even if there were discrepancies, they can easily have been explained. The INEC chairman's position was that all disputes regarding the non-correlation of uploaded results and the final result should have been resolved at the state levels before it came to the national level, where collation pretty much seems like more like a formality, because each state presiding officer will bring his result, announce it, and stand by it, and then it will be validated by the national body, the National Electoral Commission, as being the official results. So if there are no disputes arising from the state level, why should there be any contention at the national level? That means at the National Collation Center about the correlation or the disparity or discrepancies in figures. And I think there may also be some mischief going on here, just to cast aspersions on the Herculean efforts of INEC and the integrity of these results. Since the current result that has been released may have shown a trend that favors one party or another. But we will resolve this, and we will bring in our analysts to speak about this as we proceed. But meanwhile, let's we go off for a moment, and then we will connect with our correspondents at the National Collation Center to get their feedback on what is going on and what has gone on so far. Stay with us.
Scope is here.